People's dream used to be homeownership, but for some it becomes their nightmare. Having bought their home, it doesn't end there. Constant repairs, taxes, and on some the PMI goes up. What do you do? Check out these eye-opening clips showing real people dealing with buyer's regret. Please subscribe, like, and comment below. It helps the algorithm so I can bring more content to you. Thank you.
I bought a house when I was 26 and fell immediately into poverty. Okay, when I lived with my parents, I was living my best luxury lifestyle. I went to South Korea, bought a 2000 plane ticket, didn't even blink twice. I went shopping, luxury goods, all that. Was traveling, was just, I was living it up. I felt rich. I had no bills. And I had a full-time 9-to-5 job. I was working as a nurse, okay? I was killing it. I bought my own house. That first mortgage payment came in and I was like, oh, this is a situation. But at first you think you can handle it, right? Like, what's a couple thou? What's a couple thou? I got it. But then the pipes in my 80-year-old home broke immediately as soon as I bought the house. Wiped out my savings. Then another pipe in a different area of the house broke. Okay, I'm struggling. Okay, I need help. Then my neighbor's pipe, it was a twin house, her pipe broke. And she didn't believe that her pipe broke, but her pipe broke on my side of the house. So all of that water that was coming down was spraying into my home. And then my water heater broke. When I tell y'all, I went from living in the lap of luxury to destitute immediately.
Hey, have you ever wondered what house poor looks like? I'll show you. I'm in my kid's playroom. That's right, we have a whole playroom for the kid. But I'm eating pot noodle for lunch because that's what we can afford. What with all the maintenance work and so on and so forth.
Fire department just showed up at my house yesterday and they were like, hey, it's gonna be fire season. You have to cut off all your trees, do all your yard work. And I'm like, dude, is the state gonna pay for that? Because I have to find someone and pay thousands of dollars for this now. And it's like, it never ends. There's always money after money after money. And if shit screws up, the burden of responsibility falls on you as the homeowner. So there's that.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but being a homeowner is not it. Being a homeowner does not determine your success. It's not the American dream, whatever that is. It ain't the picket fence that we've been sold all our lives, It's a lie fabricated by the banks, in my opinion, to fill their pockets even more. Because when you're renting a house or an apartment, you're not paying escrow, you're not paying for taxes and insurance, you're not paying for HOA, which that's a scam in itself. Technically, this house that I took out a 30-year mortgage on is technically not mine. It's the bank's. If I don't pay my property tax, if I don't pay my insurance, if I don't pay HOA, they'll put a lien on my house and buy a house. I don't think ever in our lifetime was the right time to purchase a home. Maybe back in the Lewis and Clark days, maybe in the hunter and gathering days, maybe back in the day when I could trade some rice for a piece of land, that was the time to purchase a home. That was the time. But not in this lifetime. I'm still trying to figure out what the American dream is, but it's not homeownership.
We need to talk about how much of a scam buying a house is, especially if you live in a high income city. Because a couple years ago, my fiance and I bought a $1.3 million house. I was 26 years old. We split it 50-50. And now we kind of regret everything. And before you're like, oh, $1 million? Like that's kind of a lot. I live in Bay Area. Okay, $1 million here will get you an entry-level home or a shack. I feel like we've just been fed this like American dream that owning a house means you're a successful adult, but it really doesn't mean anything. And there's so many ways to like rent and to build wealth nowadays that it's like it doesn't financially make sense to even own a house early. For starters, our house is now worth $900K. We lost $400K from our initial investment down payment of $200K. Versus if we just put that $200K somewhere like the S&P 500, we would be up to $300K right now. This was a $700K investment mistake. A lot of people don't realize that when you tie up this amount of money in a house, you're missing the opportunity cost of being able to invest that chunk of money elsewhere.
All right, so everybody keeps asking me, Jalen, can you do a video on how you got your house, I'm not going to do that because, low-key, I regret buying my house. And let me tell you why. Well, first of all, my house is There's multiple reasons. The first one I would say basically is because my house is kind of far from everything. Like I live on the outskirts of Houston. So it takes me about 45 minutes to an hour to even get into town sometimes.
I think I fully regret buying a house now. Like, it's not the worst choice I ever made, but it's so expensive. But at the same time, it's exactly what rent would be costing me anyways. I'm almost an hour away from where I want to be and almost an hour away from work. It's a lot of upkeep, a lot of maintenance. I feel like the housing market could crash at any minute, and interest rates were high when I bought it, and so were prices. I rationalized it by telling myself, well, it's the same amount as rent and I should get something back out of it at the end of the day, which honestly at this point might not even be true. And I'm far away from everything and I have an hour-long commute and I'm tired and I'm in a 3-bedroom house and I live alone. I'm very thankful that I'm able to do this. Don't get me wrong. I just don't know if it was the right choice and I'm stressing over it right now. I've only been here for like 8 months. I don't know what to do.
The one financial decision I made in my 20s that I regret is buying a house. But it's probably not for the reasons you think. We didn't buy anything huge. We actually just bought half of what the bank said we could afford. They always try to push you into like the biggest mortgage possible. But I was like, if we can't pay all of our bills with a single salary, then I'm not buying it. But here's why I still regret it. First of all, we were very young, 24 years old. We really didn't know anything about anything, even though we tried to do our homework as much as possible and research and learn as much as we could. But because we don't know much, we trusted our realtor. Big mistake. Because they don't really care about you, they just want to sell you a house. I'm sure not all of them, but ours was terrible and he was trying to push us into like some of the most horrible houses we had seen. And he wasn't even there at the closing to hand us the keys. He went off on a vacation and sent somebody else. With his commission from closing on the sale probably. But I digress. The second reason is that I didn't know it back then when we bought the house, but 2 years later, we both really wanted to travel, like full-time travel, which is really hard to do when you have a house and a mortgage and a house full of things. It worked out in the end because we put all our stuff in storage and we rented the house out, but it would have been a lot easier if we didn't have a property and a mortgage to worry about. Buying a house is such a huge decision and such a huge responsibility. And I grew up believing that that's what you're supposed to do because everybody tells you that, but you really don't have to.
Buying a house is completely overrated, like for real. You guys see all this grass right here in that barn? That's all mine. I own that land. Oh yeah, and all that, and 3 acres all around. If you don't know how big an acre is, holy shit. But yeah, I bought this house last year for my mom. It's her retirement home. We're in the hills and I had been renting for, I would say 2 years. We've all been renting for a long time, like paying over 10K a month to rent. Everybody on God's green earth looks at you and thinks you're crazy for, oh, you rent, why not just buy? Because when you rent, you're like paying half the fucking mortgage, by the way. If you're in a $5 million house and the mortgage is $30,000 a month, they're gonna rent it to you for 15K because that's just what's on the market. Sure, you may be throwing your money away, but people don't talk about fucking property taxes. I paid like 15 grand to fucking property taxes. I pay hella interest. I'm on a 7.5 interest rate, which is a shit ton. Now, the only reason why I really like this property is because we're gonna build. It's a shit ton of land. All the land is buildable. If I wanted to sell this property right now, I would make like 500K. Like, we got a pretty nice hookup on it. But if you're like gonna buy a regular ass house, bro, make sure you understand everything: property taxes, interest rates, like the actual true cost of owning a house, plus all the maintenance, plus all the repairs, plus I just spent $20,000 on fucking grass. That's 20 bands. Yeah.
I regret buying this house. That's what I've been thinking every single day for like the past 2 months. It has been hell and I lost control and I was just able to gain back control. There's nothing that sucks more than working so hard to achieve a goal like this and to not even feel at home in my own house is absolutely heartbreaking. Like, I worked so hard for this house and I've been homeless before and I should be grateful and I am, but with everything going on, it's kind of hard to, but I'm ready and I have a mindset to completely take ownership of this house and move forward from here on out. I wanted to do everything at once, which was a big mistake. Every single house owner that I've spoken to just told me the same thing. It's a process, it's baby steps, and you're not going to get everything done in one day. Give yourself grace, just focus on the things you need to focus on, and the rest will fall into place.
So guys, as you know, I've just got the keys to my first home and I regretted buying a house as soon as I got the key and came into the house because of the state of it. A lot of people asked if I got a survey and if I even viewed the house beforehand or if I got it at auction. Obviously I did view the house beforehand, I viewed it twice, and one of the things that hit me the most when I came here, that shocked me, was the smell. It stunk of cat wee so bad, it was in all of the carpets. A lot of people were saying, oh, you must have been able to smell that beforehand, like that shouldn't be a shock. Let me tell you guys, I did not smell it when I came to view the house. And that's because they had all of the windows open, they had candles burning, they'd obviously cleaned it, etc. The smell was well and truly masked. However, once I ripped up the carpets with my mum and dad, the smell is significantly better. But obviously, yeah, when I first got the keys and came here, opened the door expecting this huge, like, wow, home sweet home moment. Instead, I thought, what have I done? Also, another point that I wanted to say was I did negotiate the price based on these issues. Don't worry. However, it still was a shock when I entered to just realise the work that had to be done. And it was the smell, it was the fact that they'd left like beds and stuff and like in weird places. It's just a lot. It's quite overwhelming, yeah, for sure.
I'm gonna keep it 100%. Home ownership is not what I expected it to be. Honestly, if I had my time back, I would never in a million years have bought a condo. I regret it so much. It's one of the biggest regrets of my life. Renting, you have that like stress-free, no worry in the world. If something in my condo breaks, it's my responsibility to fix that issue. If I'm renting, I just call up my property manager, landlord, whoever, and just say, hey, this is broken, this appliance isn't working. It's their responsibility to send somebody in and fix that ASAP. When you're a homeowner, you're the one that has to do the research on finding someone to come in. You're the one that has to take the time and make sure everything's working smoothly. It's such a headache. I'll give you an example. Today, I had the unit below my condo say that they have a leak in their washroom. It's my responsibility to call a plumber, contact the property manager, and make sure it's fixed. And when you're a renter, that's not my problem. Like, my landlord will fix that problem. I'm paying rent and that's a wrap. That's where my responsibility finishes. If I could turn back time, I would never have bought. I would have just stayed a renter. And honestly, the extra money that I would have had, I don't have to pay property taxes, I don't have to pay for repairs. Extra money, I would have poured it into investments. And future me would have been a lot better off.
I became a homeowner at 22 years old. And I instantly regretted that shit, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna tell you why I regretted it, though. So, I ended up putting 78,000 down on my house, right? And once you get your house, right, you become house poor, okay? Now, everybody's not gonna be house poor. I was house poor. I'm just speaking from my experience, bro. I'm young as shit, buying a house. I'm house poor at this point. I'm like, damn. You know what I'm saying? I did not really gauge all the maintenance that it took to take care of a house. On top of that, I had to put work into the house. They sold us the house, right? Sold the house with mold in it. How did I not know it was mold in it? Did you not get an inspector? Yeah, I had an inspector. This is what these dirty, nasty, gritty people did. Scantless, right? They painted over the mold so thick that the detectors couldn't get it. And it didn't even smell like mold down there, nothing. It was all dry, right? So I had to go in, get the walls chopped out, get the house waterproofed, whatever that came up to. So this is just more stuff you got to come out of.
Let me share with you my biggest money mistake so you don't have to make the same one. Because you can afford something doesn't mean you should buy it. A car, a house, a wedding, pretty much anything. I bought a condo in the GTA during the peak of the real estate prices. And trust me, it was the worst financial decision I've ever made so far. I'm not proud of it, but I did fall into the keeping up with the Joneses trap. In the past couple of years, I've started making more money than I've ever made before. Before that, I was a server. And while I made good money as a server, getting pre-approved for a mortgage, on the other hand, was literally impossible. Once I got my government job, owning a place felt like a real possibility. But here's where I went wrong. I always thought renting was such a waste of money. I had this idea, why should I pay someone else's mortgage when I could pay for my own place? Well, I couldn't have been more wrong. What I didn't realize is that owning a home isn't necessarily an investment, especially if you're living in it. Sure, if I were renting it out and the rent covered the costs like mortgage, property taxes, and fees, it could have been a smart move. But that wasn't my situation. Not to mention, at this point in time, it felt like everyone around me owned a home. My friends, my family, my coworkers, all owned houses. And trust me when I say this, comparing yourself to where other people are at is one of the worst things you can do.
Transparency post. I regret buying a house. I regret it a lot. If I could go back to January 2022, I would tell that girl, do not. Just find another apartment to move into, because doing all this shit that I have to do for this house and all the unexpected costs, high dollar unexpected costs that I keep running into, to be handling it by myself, is ass. So to all you young women who want to go out and buy a home, I encourage you to really, really think about it. Talk to some people and really see the ins and outs. I mean, it always sounds good. Oh yeah, your mortgage is only going to be $1,000 until they reevaluate your property taxes. And that bitch goes up $200, you know? It's trash. 85 degrees, your AC is going to go out. You don't want to know how much that costs. It's trash.
My biggest financial regret that I've ever had in life was purchasing a home back in 2021 for these 3 reasons. Number one, I had to put a 30% down payment on my home. My down payment was roughly around $330,000. I bought my 2-bedroom, 3-bath townhome for $910,000. And the reason why we had to put so much down at the time was just because of my income. I was only making around, I think, $100,000 to $110,000. That was the only way we could get the math work. Now, my monthly mortgage payment, if you factor in interest, taxes, HOA, etc., it's roughly around $4,200. If I was renting right now, I could probably rent a really nice 2-bedroom condo or an apartment for $3,500. The market that I live in, renting is actually cheaper than buying a home. Again, as I previously stated, I probably am paying an extra, $700 to $1,000 more per month by owning a home rather than renting one.